Alright guys, we're probably a couple minutes away from starting the tour behind the scenes for the Heart of Africa. We're going to meet up at the location that we're supposed to be at, and we're going to relax for a couple minutes, look around, keep ourselves entertained just before it starts. So, the next time you'll see us will probably be after the tour, because I'm going to try to film as much of the tour as I can for you guys, so that you guys get a good look at how it works and what it features, because this tour has not been fully filmed for YouTube. There's been bits and pieces that have been filmed, so I want to be able to give you guys the experience, so if that you have the urge to come and want to experience it, you can do it yourself. We'll do some other tours. Like I said, we want to do the Serengeti safari, we want to do the elephant encounter, there's a penguin encounter, there's a dozen of extra things. There's zookeeper for a day where you get to actually train with the animals. So things we want to try to do in the near future. But we're excited and we can't wait, and we'll see you in the tour.
It's difficult to distinguish them. We have two prides, 3 individuals each that are not related. Our younger group has been paired up for breeding. I do believe this is Simon, Iris, and Rose. My reasoning for that are the spots you can see on the lower forearms and the hind legs of the female. Let's head around the corner. Now, if you didn't know, lions are actually born spotted. They're not born that solid golden brown, yellow color. Those spots fade as they mature, but for most lionesses, they're going to maintain at least faint spots on the distal portions of their legs. So males tend to go through 2 growth spurts. They grow rapidly as cubs. They take a short break, and we're expecting our younger male to actually grow quite a bit pretty soon. So I think our 2 guests over here who've been on this tour realize I made a mistake. If this is our younger group, the male's name is Kembe, and the 2 females are Shaba and Shufo. If our older group is downstairs, that's going to be Simon, Iris, and Rose. He doesn't even know the name. Now the habitat looks continuous with our Serengeti plain. You can see the giraffe in the background. Those large brown antelope are healing. When we go around the back, you're going to see that it is not actually continuous. It may appear that way. So let's head on over. Follow me.
Look.
And there's the other one here.
Conked out.
So a few neat things to see back here. This is an animal habitat on the other side of this fence. That is a restricted area due to the roller coaster's presence. If you look through the fence line, you may see some red, orange, spotted and striped antelope. Those are the Inyala or Nyala. Here's one right up against the fence.
Oh, look at him.
Now, red really stands out in bright light. Our eyes are really attuned to it. It's one of the reasons why, bright red sports car really stands out. However, red is the first color to disappear in low light conditions. If any of you like to go scuba diving or snorkeling, you only need to swim 30 feet below the water surface before red disappears. The fish become less colorful as you descend. The last color to disappear in the spectrum, at least that we can see, is blue, which is why the sky and the ocean are blue. A lot of forest mammals tend to be red or some shade of red. Tigers, orangutans, foxes, bats, deer, squirrels. If you live in an environment with a lot of shade, red's a good color for you. Those vertical stripes break up the outline of the animal. If you've seen Jurassic Park, they tell you to stand still when the T-Rex shows up. It's actually true of a lot of carnivores. they don't quite see black and white the way we think of, but their eyes are a little bit more tuned to contrast and things moving. What they're looking for is the shape or outline of the thing they want to eat. That's why surfers are sometimes targeted by sharks, because the outline looks a little bit like a sea. So patterns like that are what we call cryptic patterns. They break up the shape of that animal. And with all these reeds and plants in the way, they just sort of blend into the background. There is a male Inyala out here. Ooh. This is my scout here. So, sexual dimorphism is the term that means boys and girls look different. For some animals, boys and girls don't look different. For some animals, they do. Among antelope, there is no species that looks more different than these guys. The male is much larger in size, a completely different color, has a beard, has a mane, has a crazy set of horns. And when they first brought him out here, he was very shy. We almost, we very rarely saw him, and now it looks like he's become rather comfortable. We're able to see him quite often. So, follow me this way. There's a minor detour you can see on the right. We're going to take a look there on the way back. But past the plants over to the right side of the path, you'll see there's a large dry moat separating what would be the hyena habitat today from us. And if you look through the reeds, you can actually see there's a hyena. These are spotted hyenas. If you didn't know, there are 4 types of hyena. These guys are the largest, most common, and the ones most people are familiar with. This is the laughing hyena. Many scientists believe that half of all animals killed by carnivores in sub-Saharan Africa are killed by hyenas. They are actually much more successful hunters than lions, than cheetahs, than leopards. A lot of that has to do with their intellect. They are very intelligent, social, and they have stamina far greater than that of the big cats. They can chase antelope for miles and wear the antelope out, whereas animals like cheetahs and lions can only sprint for a few hundred meters before they run out of gas. Contrary to popular belief, they're not really dog-like or cat-like. Physiologically, they resemble civets or mongooses. They don't look a whole lot like them. But as with some other species, they have a similar digestive system, similar dentition, a lot of other interesting anatomical comparative similarities. So let's go meet our lions this way. I tend to ramble. These tall plants are papyrus, by the way, which is kind of cool. One of the first known sources of paper.
So this is one of our male lions. His name is Kembe.
He's getting more.
He is going to be the biggest cat we have here at Busch Gardens. He's just growing still. Just turned 3 years old. 360 pounds, give or take. We expect him to get another 100 to 150 pounds of just muscle. He's about as big as he is going to get size-wise, but now he's just got to thicken up a little bit. When you see the lions out on the habitat, the adults that are out there now, you're going to notice they look jacked. I mean, they're ripped. These guys are lanky, very long looking. They don't have the muscle tone yet. So we'll actually do a training session with him. He's drinking water right now, so.
Drinking water. Oh. Hi.
And she just made everyone a present. That's why it smells so good. I know. Who you doing first?
Kimbe.
Kimbe. All right. So this is my coworker Aaron. We're actually going to start down here. He's going to work the male lion first. Kimbe. So like I said, the male is Kembe. If I'm in the way of any pictures, just push me out of the way. The 2 females are Shituko and Shaba. They are sisters. They are twin sisters, so it is very difficult even for us to tell them apart. Fortunately, for the 2 girls, even though they look identical, their behavior is very different. Shaba is the playful one, not a good eater. Cheetah will probably eat 500 pounds a day. So there is the only way I can tell usually apart is next to each other because Cheetah's big. So this is Cheetah right there. I also think Cheetah's a little lighter coloration too. It depends on who you talk to.
So I was wrong upstairs.
Oh,
Yeah, I guessed that it was the younger crew upstairs.
It happens.
I had the name.
So food-wise, the girls get about 5 pounds of meat a day. The boys get about 7 pounds, which is the equivalent of about 14,000 calories a day, which is quite a bit considering they sleep 16 hours a day. But this kind of shows you how fast they're missing out on this. You can see him standing up like that. That's one of the reasons why we don't go in with them. It's just a size factor. When I worked with the cheetahs, we went in with them, but they only weigh 100 pounds. He's almost quadruple that. He's 87. What's that?
He would eat you.
Yeah, and these guys were hand raised, and to be honest with you, I worked with these guys when they were this big, and I got more scratches and cuts and bruises from 10-pound lions than I ever did from 100-pound cheetahs.
Right.
It's just their nature to play rough. And one of the reasons why we don't go in, probably they wouldn't really hurt us too bad. We have that relationship, but we're not going to take that chance.
Right.
And one thing I always say is, a lot of people say an animal doesn't know its own strengths. I disagree wholeheartedly. Kembe knows exactly how strong he is. Shao and Cheetah know how strong they are. They just don't comprehend how brittle and fragile the human body is. So there's just no need for us to go in with them, so we don't.
Don't ever want to dive out of the range.
No. We do in a very structured way. We will touch them with our hands. We also use back scratchers on them too.
Sorry.
Did you steal that?
Give him a tour.
So you can see what I was mentioning. She's the bottomless pit I was mentioning. You would think that she never eats, but she is always.
Yeah, she's that
she has a
way.
table.
That's okay.
She does.
This and a few other artifacts.
Do they have their calls or do they only call?
No, they all.
Another thing you'll notice too when you go see cheetahs later on, you'll probably see them hand feed the cheetahs for defense. We don't do that. It's just probably we could do it safely, but if you did get hit with a cheetah, that's not so bad. You get hit by a lion, you lose it something.
The equivalent of
There's just,
moving.
That's why I didn't get
and that reach right there is a little bit over 18 right there. Just again on those back legs. To show you how
Oh, really?
much they can bring. Now another good thing about these guys who are excited is they came to us from a zoological facility in South Africa, so they are not related to any lion in the United States. So hopefully within a year or two, we're going to have cubs from them, and those cubs will go out and spread the gene pool throughout North America, which will be really important. The other lions that we have, they're pretty much related to almost any lion you can think of in all of North America. They're not on a breeding like that. And you also notice too when we do these training sessions, that's the only reason why they're separated at this point in time. When even though they all grow up together, they're pretty tight. You put food on the table, all bets are off. So it's always a 1-to-1 ratio. Typically when there's trainers, if I was working one, we could probably have them in close proximity and do one-on-one with them together. But still, they can do what they want on that side of the fence. There's nothing we can control. So that is a quarter of a chicken right there. Sloppily done. And she'll eat the bones and all.
Does it have bone in it?
Yeah, there's bone in there. They'll crunch it up. They'll eat it. They don't really get much nutrition out of it. There's a little like chicken. There's not even really marrow in it because the bones are more or less hollow. But somebody's problems tomorrow morning. I'm off tomorrow. What's that? No, you might hear it rumbling a little bit. So you know not to get too close. No, they don't. They can't.
Oh, they can't.
No, they don't have the throat. Now when you go see the cheetahs, I'm really plugging the cheetahs. They do purr. You'll be able to hear that. It's just the way their throats built differently. So cheetahs are about the biggest cat you can think of that can. Everything bigger than that, can't. So really, when they show affection, it's more or less common as a house cat. A lot of head going on. There's probably literally hundreds. You'll hear them do like a low rumble or like it sounds like they're whining. And that means they're very scary too.
Having a degree at this point in the zoo is almost necessary to get a job.
Any questions at all? I just kind of ran
The different things you've done on the side, volunteer animal rescue.
I love looking at the team too.
I know, they're...
Because we give them bones a couple times a week, we really don't have to clean any water off.
Skills and techniques that
It makes
are
it easy. I could imagine even giving them a dentist stick. I don't know what happened. Typically, on the average, with large cats like this, we will anesthetize them every other year and bring them to the hospital just to do a sport check. Kind of depends on the situation. But also with big cats too, they tend to injure each other very superficially, so we don't want them to get infected or anything like that. So if we do have to stitch it up, our older group, we just had a girl get stitches on her leg from I think her sister.
That's a question to answer. We have
Very, not that big of a deal, but we don't want her opened up. So she's on antibiotics right now. We're just hiding her meatballs. And we actually did 4 layers of stitches to make sure she didn't.
our tigers, for instance, they were these individuals that are much appreciated.
You can also see our spice rack over here.
Yeah, that just lets you know.
That is not for us or even for the food. It's just for them to rub like that. What's Kenbe's favorite spice?
So it's for the...
Yeah. All right. So it's not like catnip because we don't want a 400 cat on drugs, but
Yeah.
we just like
Why not? I think it'd be fun.
he likes to rub it in his mane.
Oh my goodness, he's actually...
It is, except they don't get all crazy with it. They just want to smell like it. They don't want to. It kind of change your smell.
I know.
Mostly it's the Italian stuff and the Mexican stuff. They like other stuff like peppers and stuff. Not big.
Hi.
Cinnamon.
Hi, sweetie. It's broken. It's down for the count. Oh my goodness.
It just depends. Well, that's a good question. He is going through puberty right now. So imagine how a guy's going through puberty. Imagine that with about 50 times more testosterone. That is what's happening to him. So his mind is blown. The girls aren't cycling yet, but he doesn't think clearly all the time. And with male lions in particular, because of that, they're one of the most, very long times that I've been here, the most difficult animals I've ever trained. Because their mind tells them, I don't work for food. Food gets brought to me. So when you saw Aaron do a training session with him, he kept it very short. Because if we extend it too long, much more than 3-5 minutes, they get frustrated and they start letting us know that I want my food now. So we don't want that. We want everything to be very positive, very worried. So crazy cat. When they're learning stuff with the males, it takes a little bit longer because we don't push it too much. You want to go share? And it's funny too, because you think of them as the king of the jungle and stuff, but every pride group that I've seen, the females just totally dominate the males unless there's food on the table. That's different. So they like antagonize them, push them around, and tell them them where to go, and they're just very aloof. But then they're like, all right, very chill, very relaxed. Well, it's gets out.
That is so freaking cute. She is going crazy. Yeah, look at her.
This one's going bad
She's
shit.
so cute.
They do. It works. It's definitely.
Oh my goodness.
I park my car in the morning at 6:30. When you guys meet your neighbors, Matt's about another quarter mile away. I can hear it. Easily. Very, very easily. And then when we have, on the occasions when we have both rides in at the same time, they'll probably be they'll yell at each other.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's very controlled by just a lead. It could cause the acoustics in here too, make it all bounce all over and come back down. Yeah, between sunrise, sunset.
What are you doing?
Not much. We literally spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars every year finding the best cat toys, all the stuff that we find that they like the most. That happens to be just white buckets from the food warehouse.
Look at it. Look at it. Look at it.
They chew on them, they toss them up in the air, they get Swiss cheese.
She just picked up one of the buckets and is now laying on it. Oh god.
Yep, tearing up the buckets.
Oh, tearing it up. There she goes.
Are there any other questions for Mike and Aaron?
I don't want to leave.
Change day to day. On the average, they're inside one day, outside the next. And it could be either one of those habitats. Just like some kind of emergency situation where we need to keep them inside just to keep an eye on them, well then they stay inside. But like I said, in the summer, they prefer down here. In the winter, typically they like to go there too. Because of the sun. They love the sun there.
He's playing with his tail.
Thank you so much, Mike.
No problem. Thank you guys.
Watch your step.
Enjoy the hippos. They're my favorite.
I know. Thanks.
Take care.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, kitty. Going uphill now. Over here, this is the hyena enclosure, like we was talking about earlier. And if you look over here, on the back side, once we get close to it.
The wheelbarrow.
All right, stay behind the wheelbarrow, he says.
Take a view of the. So these are our older lionesses, Iris and Rose, and you can see Simon in the background. Let me see how you hang
There they are.
They're totally hunting you. You're easy to pick off.
From this vantage over here, you can see just how extensive the moat system is. All these plants and stuff growing down there. And there are minimum standards, nowadays at least, for building these habitats. This is an accredited zoo, so every animal habitat, from areas with very small mammals to areas with large carnivores, have to be built to a certain standard. So, all right, goodbye, ladies. Follow me.
Hi, kitties.
On the ground that's closer to us.
That is awesome.
Welcome, welcome. How you guys doing today?
Good.
Good. Excited group of people today.
Hi.
You guys can come to the railing. Don't be shy. Well, welcome to the Hippo Barns. My name is Megan. I'm one of the animal care specialists here in the edge of Africa. So the folks that you saw down at the house, they're part of my team. I work with them. They work with the hippos. I work with those animals down there too. But I'm going to be joined with another human in a second, and we're going to get our hippo up to show off to you guys. Sounds like he's coming up on his own anyways. I'll introduce you guys to Moyo. We have two hippos here at Busch Gardens. We have Moyo and Cheetah. This is our male, Cheetah is our female. She's actually out in the habitat today, so you guys are walking around. The hippo that you see on the habitat is actually his daughter. So Moyo, he is 300 to 400 pounds, give or take a couple pounds here and there. Which is actually on the petite side for male hippos. Usually they average around 4,000 to 5,000 pounds. But just like people, some people are shorter, some people are taller. Same with hippos. Some hippos are the 5,000 pounders, some are the 3,000 pounders. The Moyo, he's 19 years old, which is still considered fairly young for hippos. In a zoological setting, a hippo can live upwards of 50 to 60 years. So they're pretty long-lived. But if you were to compare that to their counterparts out in Africa, that life expectancy is going to be easily half that, if not less than that. Around 30 to 20 is going to be maybe the average life expectancy you'll see of hippos out there. So we're easily able to double that life expectancy to provide high quality food. We have staff here all the time taking care of these guys, spoiling them rotten. We have on-call vet care staff also, so if they get a little scratch or boo-boo that needs medical attention, we can obviously treat that very quickly. And also a lot of preventative care for hippos. We can obviously treat anything related to hippos that would obviously not be able to be treated with wild animals. Main concern with hippos that we look for in a zoo type setting is going to be arthritis over time. Moyo's 3,400 pounds, which like I said is still small for a hippo, but it's still a lot of weight, especially on those little legs of his. He's still young, so he doesn't have any arthritis brewing, but when he gets closer to the 50-year mark, he could obviously start building up arthritis. So one way we can actually help with that is we take, every couple years we take x-rays of their legs. And Moyo's actually trying to place his foot on that little pad right there, just perfect timing. That little pad right there is actually an x-ray pad. So the vet techs can come out and they can slide that little x-ray pad under there and they can take a picture, and we can look at his skeletal structure of his feet to see if he has any arthritis building up. He's still young, no arthritis, he's good to go, but if we did start seeing any arthritis building up, we could easily treat that with some long-term kind of medication. Cosequin is a big one that we use for hippos. They've used on horses as well. Other behaviors that we train Moyo to participate in, we refer to those behaviors as husbandry behaviors. So husbandry behaviors are things that help us take care of the animal, kind of get them engaged in their own care. So that foot present is a nice, very, very nice behavior to have. Standing on a scale. This black scale over here in that chute area, Moyo will actually stand nice and still on that. We can get an accurate reading of his weight. Usually get weights on them once a month. But like we can fluctuate in weight around 5 to 10 pounds like every week. These guys will easily fluctuate 100 pounds, not a problem, every week or so. If we saw a drastic rise in weight gain, speak properly, we would obviously weigh more frequently, or if we saw an animal lose weight very rapidly, that would be a nice big indicator of a possible health issue. Weight gain, obviously, if it was female, we'd be like, oh, she's pregnant. That's actually how Cheetah came to be. Her mother is no longer with us, but her mother and Moyo were a pair, and her mother was actually on a form of birth control. Now with hippos, it is actually almost impossible to get them on a contraceptive that works. A lot of facilities try, and they have a lot of hippos. That's exactly what happened with us 9 years ago. Her mom was on birth control, and then one day the training staff at the time weighed her mom, and she was up like 200 pounds in a week. We're like, oh dear, that's a lot of weight. And then about a week later, Cheetah was here. So, surprise, we had a little baby hippo. But Cheetah, she's 9 years old, which she is considered an adult at that age. But when they're born, they're around 75 to 100 pounds. And it is actually the only time in their lives where they can truly swim. Hippos, they are what I would call semi-amphibious. They spend most of their time in the water, but they are very well adapted to being on land. When they're first born, they're light enough where they can actually doggy paddle and some kind of sort of maintain buoyancy. But obviously they put on weight rapidly being babies, they gain weight really quick. Now they're cute little chubby hippos, and then they start to sink. So they will actually hitch rides on mom's back. Mom will push them around, in the water, but they will stick to the shallow end of the pool, so to speak. But as they mature and get older, they will go into deeper water, but you're not going to find a hippo in water deeper than 12 to 15 feet of water. Anything deeper than that, they get really uncomfortable because they have to be able to push off the bottom to come up for a breath of air. So because of that, because they can't swim, they need to be in shallow water. Do you guys have any questions for me? I'm just kind of going through Hippo 101. So if you have any questions, just please feel free to interrupt.
Do you want to tell them the story about this tooth here?
Yes, this tooth you're actually holding is a real tooth, 100% real, and it is actually from Moyo. Around 8 years ago, no, 9, oh my gosh, time. It's actually about 10 years ago. He was being introduced to Cheetah's mother at the time, and male hippos, they have much larger tusks than females do. Those big, kind of sharp, crazy looking teeth in their mouth, those are referred to as tusks. Now males will have much larger tusks. So to kind of even the playing field, so to speak, Moyo, he's kind of a rough hippo. He plays rough. And Moxie, Cheetah's mother, she was a very gentle hippo. So we wanted Moyo not to rough her up, even though he might not mean to. So what we did was we actually trained him to open his mouth and allow trainers to actually go in and saw those tusks down. So that's actually where this came from. This is just one end of it. This isn't the whole thing. As you can see, it's solid tooth. There's no nerve ending that goes up in there, so it did not hurt at all. He probably felt a little bit of vibration as they were sawing it, but he allowed training staff to do it. So that's kind of a big testament to our training that we do. If he didn't want to take part in it, he could have easily went away. So all of our training that we do here is positive reinforcement based training. If he participates and does behavior that we ask him to do, we're going to reinforce that because we would like him to do it again. If he does something that we don't want him to do, we just ignore that. We don't punish him. We don't tell him, no, you're a bad hippo or anything like that. He doesn't even know what that means. And we don't want to potentially ruin our relationship with these guys because we really do a lot of stuff based on our relationship. They are herbivores. If you look back in his barn, you'll see he's got a whole lot of hay. We free feed these guys. So they get all their nutrition whether or not we do anything with them, training-wise. For training, we use fruits and veggies, but that's pure extra. So it's kind of like if you got paid in Hershey Kisses, you know, throughout the day. You don't need it, but it's, you know, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Same with these guys. So what Rebecca kicked in there a little bit ago is actually an ice block. Our Animal Care Center Nutrition Show staff made this nice ice block for Moyo. It's got, looks like Powerade in it, some different fruits in it. I'm trying to see what else. Oranges, apples, I thought I saw carrot, pears. So a whole slew of stuff that will freeze, especially when it starts getting warm. Our animals seem to really appreciate the popsicles. For our carnivores, we'll actually make meat popsicles. They don't really appreciate the fruit or veggie kind. But if you listen, you can actually hear him slurping.
I was just thinking, I'm like, is he trying to slurp?
But yeah, one of his favorite treats is Powerade and Jell-O and melons. So it's kind of like all of his favorite things in one item. So he's a happy hippo right now. They do not eat meat. Nope. There's a couple of videos around YouTube and stuff that show hippos ingesting what looks to be like a carcass of another hippo. Cannibalism usually is an indicator of a vitamin or mineral deficiency, and on other species, not just hippos. But really, their bodies aren't meant to digest meat, so if they do eat meat, their body's not going to pull anything out of it. Same with like the cats, the lions and tigers, they're true carnivores, so if they eat a vegetable or fruit, they might eat it and go through their stomach and everything, but their body doesn't recognize it as food, so it just goes right back out. Their body say, I don't eat any of this, what is this, cantaloupe? You're a lion. Same with these guys. Their body's like, nope, this is meat, you're supposed to eat veggies.
If you were back trying
They're very territorial. Hippos do not like to share their space. So we respect the fact he's been around people his whole life. He was actually born in Denver, moved here when he was 2 years old. He is a very personable animal, but I'd still respect the fact that he instinctually is very territorial. So with that in mind, we do everything we need to do with him on the other side of a barrier. So that's where that training comes in handy. We can ask him to do different body presents, open his mouth, do that tusk procedure without having to force him to do anything. We can't make him do anything he doesn't want to do. I'm not going to be like, go Moyo, we need you on habitat. We're going to try to really reinforce the habitat to make that fun to go out to, because we'd rather that. We want him to look forward to going into the habitat, or look forward to standing on the scale. Sometimes that gets really boring. Sometimes the scale doesn't work. Good old technology, so you have to stand there for a little bit. We want to make that really reinforcing too. Or when the vets come down, we want them to be super duper reinforcing because they're only here once in the blue moon. And usually when they're here, these guys aren't feeling that good.
So when they do show up, you really want to make that experience enjoyable. So it's lots of Powerade, lots of melons, lots of yummy things that he likes. He's loving the popsicle. If you guys actually look at his skin, you'll notice he's got some, it almost looks like he's got like acne or scars from acne, like little brown spots all over him. That's actually staining from blood sweat. Hippos are the only animal to express this adaptation. It is known as blood sweat. Now, it's not technically blood, it's not technically sweat, but it is a really neat substance that hippos excrete if they are out on land for any amount of time, especially when it's warm or sunny. It's basically a built-in sunblock and slash antibiotic ointment slash bug repellent. So they'll start excreting this red liquid, and that's where it gets the name blood sweat, because it looks like they're just bleeding out of their pores. And it actually stains their skin, and it stains the concrete, it stains anything it touches. So you do a lot of cleaning. That's a pretty neat little factoid about hippos. They're the only animal that does it. He's digging that popsicle. He's got his happy eyes.
Oh my god.
You guys have any more questions for me? Just in awe of the awesome hippo? Is this like your favorite part of the tour so far? Yeah.
It's all downhill.
It's pretty close. Yeah, cheetahs are they're okay.
We've already seen cats.
Yeah, the lions are cool. Hippos are awesome. Cheetahs are they're fast. They're pretty.
Well, thank you so much, Megan.
Yeah, you guys are welcome. Thank you guys for coming today.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day at the park and on the tour.
Thank you.
Go and see his daughter in the habitat right now.
Say hi, kiddo.
Introduce you to Sobek as well. Follow me.
Bye, guys.
Have a good one.
Thank you. You guys are amazing.
8 months, between 8 and 9 months. So this is Sobek over here. Sobek is a Nile crocodile. Sobek is one of the gods of the Nile River. He is over 17 feet long. He is as long as some of our giraffe are tall. He weighs more than some of our giraffe. He is real. Reptiles are not that active. They spend most of their time relaxing. He does. So what he's doing right now is what we call thermoregulation. He's laying out trying to get some sun, and since it's overcast, he wants to increase his body's surface area, give him more contact with the sun, which is why his legs are spread out. You see his forearms are actually inverted. And opening his mouth just provides more surface area for that sunlight. The scutes, or those scales on his back, actually have bone underneath them. We think that just provides a more efficient way of collecting heat from the sun. Crocodilians themselves are very fascinating. That includes the alligators here in Florida, crocodiles, which are found all over the world, and other species like caimans, gharials, avials, tomistomas. Their heart is very, very unique. Only crocodilians have a heart like they do. Their stomach and their lungs function, or they have a piston-like mechanism. So if you wondered, how is it that these guys are able to eat large chunks of food? Is their stomach acid just so powerful it just dissolves it? Not really. Their stomach does a lot of the chewing for them, similar to birds. So very, very muscular stomach that does a lot of that work inside. All they have to do is rip off chunks that they can swallow whole. They don't have to waste any energy chewing because they do that inside. Same with their lungs. You'll notice it doesn't look like he's really heaving. As you can imagine, having a body mass like this and your back covered in heavy bone, they've developed a different method of breathing. Instead of a diaphragm that opens up and pushes air out, they have a muscular piston, just like in the engine in your car, pushes air in and out. So real fascinating animals. Crocodiles keep the yellow and black coloration that you're going to see on all juvenile crocodilians. Even baby American alligators have the yellow and black colors. But since the alligators here tend to live in swamps and rivers that are very, very dark with sediment and mud, they tend to turn jet black when they're mature. But crocodiles live along the riverbanks of the Nile. There's lots of tall grasses, light colored sand. It's helpful to maintain some of that cryptic coloration. It makes life a little easier. There are lots of fish in there, and there's a hippo on the other side. So let's go see Miss Cheetah. Right this way. By the way, if any of you have pets, I'm sure when you travel with them or when you need to take them to the vet, you use a crate. This is the crate we use to transport the Sobek. Most of the animals you're going to see there, they are crates used to transport them, but they're behind the scenes. It so happens the way they built this area, we couldn't really hide this, so we just put it in plain sight. He is trained to walk into this crate, and then we close up the other end, and we can wheel him anywhere we need to. Cool. Even animals like our elephants and rhinos have crates big enough for them.
It's an acquired. Are you kidding me?
The fish in here are mostly African cichlids. Cichlids you might be familiar with are fish like tilapia. That's a type of cichlid, very large. There he is, he's got his mouth closed, so he's pretty intimidating. And oh man, you saw the arm move? This is a sprint for him. This is about as active as we ever see him.
How do you train? How do they train them?
Very similar to how we train the other animals, with a lot of time and patience. What they've done with him is he associates a particular sound with food. He hears that sound, he says, "Oh, they're gonna give him food." Does anyone know why his teeth are so white? We don't brush them. They're replaced very often. That's the secret. They are not like shark teeth where they're folded back. They are stacked like ice cream cones for these guys. Homodont polythecodont teeth is the technical term.
It's crazy.
Right this way. Right. Cheetah is down here in the corner making her rounds. You'll notice that they propel themselves mostly with their forelimbs, pushing off. Sometimes they use their hind legs. They are not capable of swimming, in case you're wondering. They are so dense they actually sink. But the water offsets some of that weight, making it easy for them to bound gracefully through the water. When large males are approaching a rival or potential threat, they gallop underwater. And you can see videos of this. You'll see the hippo's head, and then it gets closer, and then, oh, the hippo's right there. They can move very quickly underwater. Their eyes, ears, and nostrils are on the same plane, so they can breathe, hear, and see while keeping the rest of their body submerged, which is very similar to how the crocodiles work. Ooh, he's up and walking.
Oh man.
All right, let's go meet our cheetahs right this way. Our last stop. For those of you who've been to the park over the past, years, you might remember this as being home to our Clydesdales. We have cheetahs living here now.
What happened to the Clydesdales?
Hello. It's a rowdy bunch. I've been trying my best to calm them down.
Chinese.
Right. How you guys doing?
Wonderful.
My name's Ashley. I'm one of the trainers here at Cheetah Run. I'm going to take you guys back. Have you ever been back to the Clydesdale Hamlet before? Yeah, this is the old Clydesdale Hamlet. So we're going to head straight in, and actually we're going to go straight into the house.
We normally have to go through a decontamination process. Polygraph.
The whole 9 yards. Yes, I am. No kids.
Feel free to take as many photos as you would like. Please, all we ask is do not lean over the railing. Yeah, they're so pretty. No, those are our almost 6-year-old females. There's actually 4 of them all together.
Get down.
Then you guys can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. They're out there.
Yeah.
Cute.
All right, so these girls came to us from South Africa when they were just 7 months old. They are now almost 6 years old. And that is cheaper. What you hear? These girls, along with the other 3 cheetahs here at Busch Gardens, they are all ambassadors for their species. What that means is they've all been hand-raised. They're really comfortable interacting with us hands-on. We can go into their environments with them and work with them. They're all trained to walk on harness and leash. They're all comfortable in crates, which allows us to take our cheetahs beyond the gates of Busch Gardens and to people that might not be able to come here, and we can continue to talk about the plight of the cheetah. Now, cheetahs are the most endangered cat in Africa, with less than 10,000 individuals left worldwide. To give you guys a quick comparison of that, on a day like today, we'll have more guests pass through our gates than there are cheetah on the entire planet. So it's really sad. And these girls, they're here to help us spread that message. So it's really awesome. Now, I can point out the girls that they've all got their backs to us almost. So this is Tyree right here and Jenna. I believe this is Cheetah purring. No, that's Jenna's. I got it mixed up. All right, Tyree, Nate, Jenna, and Cheetah. And she's the one that's purring the loudest over there. So. And so along with being so endangered, there's like 3 major reasons why that has happened. The first major reason was the Ice Age did actually wipe out the majority of the species. It created what's called a genetic bottleneck, and these guys actually are extremely inbred. So you could take DNA of any 2 cheetah in the entire world and they both appear to be so how closely related they are to one another. The second major reason is actually competition with other carnivores. They are the fastest land animal. They can hit speeds of 60 to 70 miles per hour in 3 to 5 seconds. So it's pretty impressive. However, they're sprinters and not marathon runners. They can only hold that speed for about 30 seconds to a half mile, and then they're done. They need recovery because their body temperature heats up, and they need to allow it time to cool down, leaving that prey for grabs for lions, hyena, and the other carnivore nearby. The last major reason is actually competition with humans. In Africa, there is a lot of habitat loss as well as ranchers protecting their livestock. And in the past, they've used lethal ways of doing that. However, 2 of the conservation facilities in South Africa have, in Africa, have come up with a really great program. It's called the Anatolian Guard Dog Program. And they started breeding the Anatolian Shepherd. It's a very protective breed of dog. They'll give these puppies to the ranchers as long as they promise to raise it with their herd. In doing so, that puppy will be a 150-pound barking dog, and they'll chase away any cheetah that comes nearby. Because when it comes to fight or flight response, the cheetah's most defense mechanism is their speed. They're going to take off running in the opposite direction and know that they can get away. It's not worth the fight for them, and it has worked hand in hand with protecting the cheetah as well as protecting the rancher's livestock. These are the 2 most vocal cats that we have. With the exception of
sweetie.
Taro, who's pretty vocal as well. She's about to say she's hearing the doors drop, so she's like, when's my turn? So she's ready. But I think Erin is going to do a training session for you guys. So we'll head down her way in just a second. And you guys are going to watch. So all of our cheetahs are trained to do a lot of really cool things. Not only do they walk on harness and leash, but they're actually trained to voluntarily assist with their own health care. It's called husbandry training. So we can do a lot of things with our cheetahs. For example, take a blood draw without having to anesthetize them at all. If you guys want to head down here and watch the training session. gardens is really important. So a lot of the training we do is just to keep them,
Insane.
mentally stimulated, keep their environment fun and exciting and always changing. So it's really important to them to do every day is a little different, or every training session is different. Clearly she's cleaning up the fence. Yeah, all right. Come on down here. She's our largest cheetah. A little over 100 pounds. Come on, you guys can get a little closer actually.
So, gonna need a little help with this one. So, this is a newer